serpentina. Serpentina, it's also known as a king of bitters, or in scientific name, it is a Rauvolfia serpentina. It is a medicinal shrub in the milkweed family. It is a safe and effective treatment, especially for hypertension. It was used in the folk medicine, especially in India, for a century to treat a wide variety of maladies, including snake and snake bites, and others, such as the abdominal pain and dysentery. Rauvolfia was named in honor to a German physician, Dr. Leonard Rauwolf, who studied the plant while traveling in India. And one of the selected plant to study is the serpentina, due to its long, tapering, and snake-like roots. Rauwolfia contain many different phytochemicals, including the alcohol, flavonoids, steroids, alkaloids, which is the most important alkaloids is found in plant. All parts of this plant, including the stem and the leaves, are contain the indole alkaloids, but they are found in the highest concentration in the bark of the root. Many patients around the world are treated this plant. For now, many institutions are used and converted into a tablet or a capsule to cure the some illnesses, especially for the hypertension. Rauvolfia serpentina is among the smallest of all the Rauvolfia species. There are more than 100 species that growing to 1.5 feet in height. A graceful and a woody evergreen shrub with a milky sap. It bears elliptical to oval leaves, dark green above the polar below the color, in whorls of 3 or 4 along the stem. The small pink to white flowers are borne in a terminal clusters by produce a tiny oval, fleshy fruits about 1/4 inch long, which turn a shiny purple-black when it's ripe. But what is the medicinal uses of this? In Ayurvedic medicine, the root was used for snake bites again, scorpion sting, worms, ulcers. And in addition, the plant has long been valued in India as a sedative and hypnotic in the treatment of insanity that called as Amon disease. The powdered root was used to treat the diarrhea and the dysentery and other painful intestinal ailments such as the cholera and gastritis. Rauvolfia also enjoys a traditional reputation as a fever-reducing agent and as an emmenagogue, or an agent that brings on a menstruation. But Indian also found that a single dose of a powder roots could put a child into a deep sleep that lasted all night. Slowly, the use of Rauvolfia serpentine to treat the anxiety, insomnia, and a madness spread throughout in India. The leaves has been used to remove opacities of the cornea, or in Java, it is regarded as a vermifuge. Okay, it is an edible, especially in holy men in India, including the Mahatma Gandhi, have reportedly chewed the root of the Rauvolfia to help achieve a state of philosophic detachment while meditating. But where did it found, or where is it distributed? Rauvolfia serpentina was grows in a moist tropical forest, especially in the Pacific, South America, Asia, as well as in Africa. The shrub is rarely distributed by the local people unless someone is bitten by a snake. The shrub and then unearthed and its long root given the victim. A local legend claims that an ancient time mangroves were observed to feed the plant before engaging in a combat with a cobras. It is copying the reputed activities of the mangroves. Local people found that the shrub could serve as a potent antidote to snake bite. But in 18th century, a botanist named the shrub Rauvolfia serpentina was known as Rauvolfia, the name of the genus, as what I've said earlier, from the German physician and a botanist and Dr. Leonard Rauvolf. A serpentina, the name of the species that describe the snakes-like appearance of the root. The natural reserves of this plant are declining, especially after the report of its medicinal properties appeared in the literature. International Union for the Conservation of the Nature and the Natural Resources has kept this plant under endangered status. Rauvolfia is cultivated for medicinal uses of the 30 alkaloids, especially the serpine that found in the root, and there are such a great demand for the alkaloids and the road drugs that India is taking steps to increase production to 100 to 150 metric tons root per year. They have a lot of scientific research on this. In an 18th century, a specimen was sent to the herbarium in Leiden, Holland, but Rauvolfia serpentine was then ignored by some scientists, as most medicinal plants have been. Less than one half of 1% of the flowering plant species in the world have been made exhaustively studied for their potential pharmacological activity. The great value of these drugs, especially in reserpine, or lies in the clinical proven fact that it is not required to be administered in clinical dosages, has a rare side effect, and it's not habit forming and without withdrawal symptoms or contraindication. And the drugs is used mostly in treating high blood pressure, but also for insomnia, hyperglycemia, hypochondria, mental disorders, and certain form of insanity. Also used for hypertension, neuropsychiatry, and gynecology and geriatrics. Other drugs derived from Rauvolfia serpentina are resinamian or the serpentinin. But there are a lot of side effects of Rauvolfia preparation, including the drowsiness, salivation, nausea, nasal congestion, diarrhea, hypergastric secretion, and certain endocrine disorders. Up to this time, all known a compound that lowered the blood pressure did so by dilating blood pressure. Reserpine has a direct effect on the hypothalamus of the brain and opening up an entirely new mode of pharmacological action. They have some side effect when taken by mouth. This Indian snakeroot is possible unsafe. It is contain a chemical that have been shown to cause low blood pressure and slow heart rate. But the long-term use can cause depression. And other possible side effect of Indian snakeroot include the nasal congestion, changes in an appetite and the weight, nightmares, drowsiness, and a lost stall. Pregnancy and breastfeeding, there isn't enough reliable information to know if the Indian snakeroot is safe to use when pregnant or breastfeeding. Stay on the safe side and avoid use And these chemicals in Indian snakeroot can pass into breast milk and might harm a nursing infant. For me, every plant have their different uses. It is depend on us if we believe for the safetyness, and of course, if we want to cure any illnesses that we want to. Thank you so much. God bless everyone and keep safe.